Hi, my name is Eric Wally. I live in Massachusetts in the United States, and I've been suffering from chronic fatigue now for a couple of years. It started back in the summer of 2023, but I can see markers and patterns of brain fog, fatigue, especially post-exertional malaise, going back several years, actually, back to 2019, when for some reason I just couldn't get out of bed for a week. And then finally, I started to feel better. And I just struggled with this off and on until it got really bad in January of 2023. And I ended up having to work a very reduced schedule. I needed to lie down during the day just to get through the day and kind of work from bed. So I ended up taking a leave of absence, and all I did was sleep. I slept for 18, 20 hours a day. I didn't remember very much of what I was experiencing, and sometimes I would have a little burst of energy and I'd go for a walk and think, all right, I'm starting to turn around, and then I'd be done for the next 3 or 4 days, asleep again. So that really leads me to my first kind of lesson learned or tip that I can share with you. And that is be a detective. Be a detective. Do all the tests. Hunt down any possible lead or thing that seems even remotely relevant or interesting. I've given so much blood for so many different tests to help with this diagnosis, and 80% of it was a waste of time, was ultimately not worthwhile in terms of the specific finding, but very worthwhile in terms of ruling things out. And if you're suffering from this, as you probably already know, chronic fatigue is really, getting to a diagnosis is really a process of elimination. So we ruled out Lyme disease and many, many, many other things that I won't bore you with here. So being a detective has really helped me to gradually recover. My brain fog has subsided. My post-exertional malaise is no longer, fingers crossed. And while I still have shades of non-recuperative sleep, it's not nearly as bad as it used to be. One of the things that we found through all these tests is that my gut biome was way off. I think I got chronic fatigue because I just been working too much, not at all exercising, and under a lot of stress. Frankly, a lot of it self-induced for years and years and years. And my body just said, all right, time out, we're not doing this anymore. And so I worked with a functional nutritionist to get my gut biome back in order. I took some, very useful supplements, completely changed my diet, and that helped a great deal. The other thing that we found was my testosterone was incredibly low. My internal system was so screwed up that my testosterone was getting converted into estrogen. And my testosterone level, which should be well into, 5 to 800, was actually at 120. So I was, with some trepidation, I have been taking testosterone in gel form. And that really, really helped. I, for some reason, was nervous that there'd be side effects or whatever. I talked with 3 different doctors, and they all said, no, your testosterone is low. It's a hormone. You just take it, and you'll be back in no time. And that's proven to be true. And then another thing that really helped as part of being a detective is hypnotherapy. And I'm somebody who just likes to think about things, I guess, in a very conventional way. And when I first stumbled across the possibility that hypnotherapy could be useful, at that point in my journey, I kind of shrugged my shoulders, but that little voice inside me said, come on, what? am I going to end up clucking like a chicken? Because that had only been my experience, is, the show kind of hypnosis that you see on TV and in movies and so forth. Not the case with hypnotherapy. It was really, really transformative. In 3 sessions, I was able to quiet my mind. I was able to get that negative self-talk, the stressful banter that had been, the soundtrack of this stressful, non-rejuvenative life that I had been experiencing all these years. It's amazing. It's amazing. In 3 sessions, in 3 hours, I went from somebody that was always ruminating, the guy that would begin sentences all the time with, I just worry that, to somebody that is really comfortable being in the moment, and somebody who isn't all that worried about things that aren't within his control. It's really just helped me to be a lot more present. And while I don't think that my anxiety, I guess you could call it, was the trigger for chronic fatigue, or the cause, I should say, for my chronic fatigue, it certainly was a driver, because I just never could fully relax. I remember one time going through a visualization exercise where I calmed down each section of my body, brought focus to my head, my neck, my shoulders, that sort of thing, all the way down to the tips of my feet. And I was astonished at how stiff and tense my body was. And this was an exercise I was trying to use to fall asleep. And so undoubtedly that contributed to all of my symptoms. And then, the other thing that I was very nervous about was exercise of any kind. It really was fearful. I was afraid of it because I just didn't want to continually relapse. And I was afraid that if I went out there and started to do walks or run or anything even more than that, that I'd disappear for another 3 or 4 days. And gratefully, I am married to a wonderful woman who essentially became a single mom while I had to deal with all of these symptoms. But nonetheless, I went out and I started to do some light exercise, and then that turned into actually hitting a tennis ball against a wall and kind of simulating tennis. The brain fog went away as a result of that. So what does all this mean? It means that I still feel like I have a long way to go. I don't have my body back the way it used to be. And it also means that I have tools now that I never thought were possible. I have a way of connecting with myself emotionally and physically unlike ever before. And I have tools and tactics to apply when I feel like things might be not going so great for me health-wise. Chronic fatigue is a long journey, but if you're aggressive about being a detective and hunting down every little lead, no matter how silly or unfamiliar it is, I feel strongly that you'll benefit. You will get better. There are many, many recovery stories out there. So I wish you the best of luck.